Hello and welcome to the London part of the Politics Show. Boris Johnson made tackling youth crime and its underlying causes one of the main pledges of his mayoralty. But with a few months left of his four-year term, he's struggling to achieve one of his key aims. The promise was for a grand mentoring scheme, recruiting 1,000 black men, all volunteers, to guide and support 1,000 black boys. But we've learned there have been delays, arguments and teething problems, as Kurt Barling reports.
Could a London-wide mentoring programme help to stop some of this and the blizzard of statistics that point to an escalation of violent offending by a small but persistent proportion of young black men? Many people, like Michael Oejuru, have supported the Mayor's public commitment to getting communities involved in making a difference through mentoring.
In the gym, they have the television on, but there's no sound. And I'm working, doing my exercises, and then you'd see a black kid's face pop up, and your heart would sink, because you know the news was, this guy had been killed, stabbed, and normally been stabbed. And I'm reading the titles there, and I've been going to the gym for almost 10 years now, and in recent years, it's just got worse and worse. And I thought, got to do something.
The cockiness that these kids show masks a fragility and an anger that no one has taken the trouble to give them discipline and to give them hope.
Whilst the Mayor's ambitious plans were being drawn up inside City Hall, there's been a feeling of enthusiasm from potential mentors and genuine engagement from community organisations keen to get involved.
I wanted to be involved for the right reasons. I wanted to ensure that it was successful. And I said to Boris at the time that this initiative would go down very well for him when it came time for re-election. It was an initiative that would benefit everybody if it was successful.
But it took 12 months to get a viable consortium to run the project and sort out a contract. That was finalised in June. Meanwhile, 2 years on from the commitment to deliver a programme across 7 London boroughs, some of that early enthusiasm is beginning to dissipate.
What I saw what Boris Johnson was doing with his programme, from the streets, working in prisons, it seemed to be holistic, and I want to get involved in this. And we had a great session at City Hall. I met him and his police agent and his advisor, and I was really impressed. Energy, enthusiasm, clear vision. I want to get involved in this. That was almost 18 months ago now. And in that time, very little has happened for me to get involved in mentoring.
The consortium that won the bid included the University of East London and 2 small local delivery partners, the London Action Trust and Ethos Consulting. In the last week, it's become clear that one of the smaller partners pulled out after winning the bid, the other has gone bust. And whilst 2,100 people have signed up to be volunteers, so far only 21 mentors have been successfully paired with a mentee. But I've looked a little more closely at the winning consortium to see why these partners are no longer involved and whether the delay of needing to find new partners will jeopardise the Mayor's mentoring project. There are governance issues involving London Action Trust, which have raised questions in some quarters as to whether there were potentially any conflicts of interest with their successful bid. Stephen Norris, ex-Conservative mayoral candidate, is also on the board of the company run by the Mayor's mentoring advisor, Ray Lewis, as is Fitzroy Andrew. Nick Griffin is a key mayoral advisor, and then there's the Mayor's patronage of the firm that failed. One man very close to the process resigned in protest, believing any conflict of interests may have been missed. He doubts the programme can now succeed.
How many of those individuals have been on that database for upwards of 2 years and haven't been contacted and haven't been brought into a process? These are disillusioned individuals who are spreading that disillusion around in their communities. There is no chance of delivering it, not definitely before the elections next year. And the organisation that's leading it doesn't have the capacity.
Across the city, there are people who have been spurred to get involved in helping with the groups that I know are already doing so much across London. And that's why we set up Team London, which is to make it easier for you, I'm looking at you, to be a mentor.
Boris Johnson continues to make bold claims for his original vision of 1,000 men to mentor 1,000 boys. But is a success for City Hall an increasingly remote possibility? The mentor we interviewed hopes not, still wanting to pass on life skills because he wants to help vulnerable youngsters turn their lives around. It's something you're fired up and ready to do, but actually at the moment there's no roadmap to guide you on the way.
Exactly, exactly. It does concern me when you see these murders and these dreadful crimes, knives. You want to do something. You know, it's no good just, oh, isn't that terrible? Isn't that terrible? You know, you want to get involved.
Michael Ohojuru ending that report by Kurt Barling. Now, responsibility for youth issues at City Hall has recently been transferred to the Mayoral Advisor for Culture, Munira Mirza. Earlier this week, Kurt asked her why the mentoring scheme was taking so long to get up and running.
Well, the first year was spent really recruiting or starting the recruitment of volunteers. The training programme only started in mid-August, so it's been going for about 10 weeks. It's not been very long. And we're now training up these volunteers. We're getting them into relationships with young people. Actually, we think that we'll make up any lost time by the end of this year.
The more delay there is, the more cynicism there will be in whether you are capable of delivering. And, you know, Project Titan could end up being Project Titanic.
I think the cynicism comes from people asking questions which aren't based on anything. I mean, the programme is running well. It started, we are training people up. We've had very positive emails, which I'm happy to show you in the BBC, about how successful the programme has been so far, the experience the trainees have had. You know, this is a programme that, you're right, is very well received within the communities. It is an ambitious programme, and we are delivering it. 21 pairings is not a good enough basis on which to assess whether this part of Project Titan, the mentoring scheme, is actually working. The training's been ongoing for about 10 weeks. So, of course, we're only on a small number now because that will grow. It's a 3-year programme. We will have evaluation of the relationships after a year. We will put that out. We are looking for longer-term solutions, longer-term sustainability of it. I think people recognise that. The fact that 2 of the 3 partners, one has fallen by the wayside, the other one's gone bust, you would have thought that that kind of scrutiny would have been even more clear when looking at that consortium to ensure that the public money was put in the right place to get the job done. It's nobody's fault that a voluntary organisation, a charity, faced financial difficulties and now is no longer part of a consortium. There isn't a fault here, there isn't anyone to blame. That is the reality of working with the voluntary sector. We did the financial due diligence on the grant organisation, which was University of East London, and they are safe and sound. We're confident that no public money's been wasted, that the outcomes that we paid for will still be achieved. We haven't done anything that we shouldn't have done. And the City Hall links? The City Hall links with London Action Trust? Not an issue? Sorry, City Hall links. The Mayor was an honorary patron because he inherited that title, an honorary title, from the previous mayor. He had no actual involvement in the organisation. Nick Griffin's trustee. And it was, but there was no influence on the process of giving the grant, which in fact went to University of East London. I don't know what you're implying, but I can give you complete assurance that everything that was done in this process was above board, was fair, was following all the GLA protocol, all the legal advice. I mean, I'm not quite sure what you're driving at, but there is nothing in this process that should be questioned. The issue is the programme running into the sand? And can they deliver? And there's scepticism growing that they can. OK, well, I can deny that it's running into the sand. It's running well. The programme is effective, and we're going to do a lot of good in those communities. And I can use this moment to assure those people who may be concerned that the programme is going in the right direction. Final question then. You've got an election coming up next year, in May. How many mentors and mentee pairings do you think you might have by then? We're estimating 350 pairings, obviously, you know, working on the programme that we currently have. It's a 3-year programme, it's a large programme. It takes time to get the right people, the right young people, to train them up properly. I'm not going to apologise for
it taking some time to do that, because the last thing we want is to rush into this, put mentors who are not properly trained in with quite vulnerable young people. They have a bad experience. It is even more damaging.
Munira Mirza there. Kurt's here with me. Very robust in saying this is, you know, we've lost a bit of time, but we're right on track. This is going to be a good project. Can they say it's effective at this stage?
I think the important thing to remember is there's no issue about commitment here. The Mayor was quite bold in his commitment to try and roll this out. Clearly, many Londoners are also committed because they're lining up, 2,100 volunteers. So the real question is whether the programme's being delivered on the ground. And they say it's on target, but by September, the end of September, the University of East London that's running this bid was expected to have a minimum of 60 pairings, and as we heard, there are only 21 so far.
And that's on top of the delay that was already there because of the contractual difficulties. Now, no one's saying this is, or was going to be easy, but 3 years on, shouldn't they be further down the track here?
Look, it's really difficult. You've got to take ordinary Londoners and pair them up, often with very vulnerable young boys. And that's going to be difficult whatever way you cook it. So that's why they put this out to competitive tender. That's why the delays that are now in the winner's bid has caused so much concern, because those that didn't get that bid are saying, well, we could have probably done it. Why are there so many delays at this end? And it's important to remember that the University of East London bid actually, during the bidding process, after the second round of interviews, wasn't the one that came out strongest. And I think the one that did come out strongest at that point, but failed through financial due diligence issues, are saying, well, we could have been there doing that now. Why has this particular bid started to fall apart, losing London Action Trust and Ethos Consultancy?
So do you think, come May, as he goes into the election next year, he's going to be able to say, the Mayor is going to be able to say, this is a success, look what we've done?
Well, look, in the end, the question that people want to ask answered is, did this winning consortium deserve to get the contract based on what they offered to deliver in a timely manner? Did they deliver it in a timely manner? I understand they're now having to recruit new partners to fill in for those that fell out of the bid. And, you know, was this decision to go with the consortium, which appears to be foundering, influenced by links with the Mayor's advisor on mentoring, Ray Lewis, and that company, which went bust? In the end, 21 pairings is not a really substantial example of action on the ground.
Kurt, I mean, quite clearly, quite a few more questions, a few months to go before he has to go, he goes to the polls, but thanks very much indeed. Now, at a time when council